All right. Hello, hello. We are continuing our conversation about congruent triangles, but now we're talking about whether we can prove that triangles are congruent or how we prove that they are congruent. So remember when we talked about congruent triangles, we were told that all of the corresponding pieces are congruent to each other. So if A corresponds to angle D, those two are congruent. If angle E corresponds to angle B, those two are congruent. And angle F corresponds to angle C, then those are congruent. But also, we have to take into account the sides. AB is congruent to ED, BC is congruent to EF, and AC is congruent to FD. And that is all of the information we would need to prove in order to say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. That's 6 different things that we would have to prove are congruent. And you're like, whoa, Miss Hart, no, we already hate proofs. I'm having all these steps. No, no, we quit. No, don't quit, guys. Don't quit. It'll be okay because we have some special tools for our toolbox. These shortcuts that are great for congruent triangles that help us be able to prove that things are congruent in like 3 steps as opposed to 6. So it cuts our work in half, and we can easily identify our congruent triangles. So let's clear all this off and talk about what those shortcuts are. So if I'm given 2 triangles and parts of the information that are provided for me are that AB is congruent to ED and BC is congruent to EF and AC is congruent to ED or FD, sorry, then the 3 sides have a corresponding congruent piece. And if all 3 sides have a corresponding congruent piece, then those 3 triangles are congruent. So I can say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF by this wonderful shortcut called side, 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 because we're talking about the 3 sides. So by side, 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 or SSS, we know that these 2 triangles are congruent. So that's one of our shortcuts. Moving on to the next one, clear all this off. We've got, well, what about if I had AC congruent FD, if I have BC congruent EF, and angle C congruent to angle F. If I have those pieces of information, so let's look at what I have. AC is a side, C is an angle, and BC is a side. So we call this side angle side, and this tells me that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So side angle side, or SAS, is one of our shortcuts that we can use. All right, so then we have, what if we have angle B is congruent to angle E, angle C is congruent to angle F, and BC is congruent to EF. Well, the things that we have are an angle, a side, and an angle. So by angle, side, angle, I can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So I don't even need to know other parts of the triangle. I just need to know that I have an angle next to a side and then next to another angle that are all congruent to each other.